Honest to Vlog.
I don't remember where I was at. No. So apparently we're talking about religion now. Thanks, Erica. But seriously, kudos for bringing that up. I think it's really weird how with religion, it's like our society expects everyone to have their mind made up about that and to have a strong opinion about it, but you're not supposed to talk about it. There's this strange stigma around it that's just one of those things that you're not supposed to talk about because it can only lead to bad things, and you know, you're only going to lose friends that way and have big bad arguments, especially in public. I can count very few of the YouTubers I watch whose religious opinions I actually know because it's something that everyone really hides from the public eye, and it's really strange. I mean, it's not that strange, obviously. It makes sense that people want to hide it away because you don't want to make people think bad of you and you don't want to alienate people. But why is this such a big deal that we can't have different opinions and talk about it freely and expect people to be okay with it? Which is where Honest to Vlog comes in. As the greatest collab channel of all time, we are going to have an intelligent and friendly discourse on the subject and prove that it's possible. So on that note, today I will be giving a logical argument which will, in effect, end all religious conflict. To begin this discussion, we'll start, of course, with the most important person in the universe. Me! As previously discussed, I'm really not into the idea of labeling oneself, and I prefer not to do that even when it comes to religion, but when people ask you, you kind of have to have something to say, otherwise you end up having to explain everything down this huge long discussion, and I don't always want that. So if asked, my response greatly depends on how much I want to talk to the particular person at the particular moment, and I will say anything from atheist to agnostic to I refuse to label myself. Atheist is pretty straightforward and pretty much ends the conversation and requires no additional discussion. Agnostic would be a more accurate description, but that one I have to explain a little bit, which I will do so now. I think that evolution and all that and carbon dating and science and whatnot sounds plausible, so I choose to think that that's probably the right way to go. But where I become agnostic is that I cannot disprove God. While I believe that all the sciencey stuff is true, that doesn't mean there's not still a God somewhere pulling the strings behind it, or a God that set it up to begin with. And even if everything has happened completely without a God, there's still the Big Bang. Because all of the matter that makes up our universe was created in the Big Bang, it becomes impossible to find any matter or any trace of evidence that would show what happened before the Big Bang, if anything. So it becomes completely plausible that there was a God before the Big Bang who set up the Big Bang, or anything is completely plausible really because we don't know. There's no way of ever knowing. So while I do live a lifestyle completely as an atheist and I don't pray to anything or believe anything necessarily, I do consider myself an agnostic just because I can't disprove anything that religions preach. But along that line, I can't disprove a God in the same way that I can't disprove a flying spaghetti monster or disprove Harry Potter. And following that line, I cannot concretely prove or disprove anything. It is completely plausible that we're living in some Matrix-like scenario or some form of dystopia and everything we know about reality is a complete lie. It's impossible to have 100% certainty about anything in our reality, much less how the universe was created. So what the process of choosing your religion and choosing your ideology really becomes is a process of betting. You can look at the evidence, you can use logic, you can make an informed decision, but ultimately you cannot be 100% certain. The evidence isn't all there. There's no way to ever get there. So in a world where it's impossible to know anything with 100% certainty, it becomes more about making choices for what you think is right, because you can't know anything to be certainly right. And if you're going to be subjectively picking what you think the answers are, the logical response to that is to pick what makes you happiest. Whatever answer pleases you or fulfills your life or makes sense to you or makes you work is the right answer. And for this reason, there is no religion in existence that I will critique for what they believe in. It really does not matter how ridiculous it is. Whatever it is that helps you live your life better, good for you. That's fantastic. Even myself, while fairly atheistic, I spend all of my time wrapped up in either fiction or art and things that aren't real. I spend all of my time with my head thrust into music or books or something. I prefer not to spend my time thinking in what I consider reality, so if other people want to have some weird view of reality, who am I to have a problem with that? Even free will, I really don't think can be proven true, but I basically choose not to think about that and choose to just pretend it is true because I would hate to go through life not thinking I have free will. That would be awful. That said, while I refuse to take issue with what a religion believes in, I do take issue with many religions based on how they believe in it. My biggest issue with most religions is the us versus them mentality that a lot of them seem to create. As a stark individualist, I have a huge problem with this, and I really think that a lot of problems throughout history and throughout society today and everywhere come down to this us versus them mentality. This idea that you're going to get this big group of people and they're all going to kind of band together and be right together, as if somehow by being together and all supporting each other, their opinions become more right by having lots of them. And then all the opposing factions become enemies of yours because they are wrong. If you're going to believe something, I think it should be more about personal choice. If you want to go to a church to have community and friends and other people to talk to, great, but this idea that everyone's going to band themselves together on one side to oppose the other side, just yeah. And to be fair to religion, I take this issue with a ton of other things as well. I think nationalism is absolutely horrifying, and political parties, the way they are today, is disgusting too. The way that it's always us versus them, red state versus blue state, or whatever. It's not about finding the best choice, it's about your side winning. Sports teams, I think the way most people go about rooting for sports is ridiculous. Atheism. Atheism has really pissed me off lately, and then it's become just as bad as religion. I mean, on freaking YouTube, you have all those angry atheist people who are so adamant about ranting against the Christians and proving them they are wrong, wrong, stupid, and we are right, our group is right, and it's not constructive at all. It's just this ridiculous tear each other down, us versus them mentality, and I'd like it to stop. Insert something pretentious about how everyone in the world should think just like me, and then everything would be happy and perfect.